This is Alt-Baking Bootcamp, your crash course in healthier baking.
Today, we're tackling banana bread, but we're gonna make it a little bit healthier by making it gluten, grain, and refined sugar-free.
And what I love about banana bread is that it's moist, it's sweet, and it's very banana-y. And this is the OG version.
Should we try it?
Let's do it.
It's good.
Tastes a little processed to me, but
it does. I don't know how good you're gonna feel after eating a slice or two of this. I think we can do better though.
Yeah.
And make it a lot healthier.
For sure.
All right, let's do this. So first, we're gonna start with bananas.
You want to get some overripe bananas. They don't have to be totally black and brown, but you do want to see that speckle because it means the starch of the banana has turned to sugar. Plus, they'll be easier to mash.
This recipe is great because bananas are naturally sweet, so you could actually make it without any added sugars. But we're gonna add a little bit of maple syrup to this just to up the sweetness a little bit, and we're gonna add some vanilla extract to accentuate the sweetness.
Maple syrup is about the same sweetness as regular sugar, so you can substitute it 1-for-1 in most baking recipes. However, because it is liquid, it adds a little bit of moisture, so you want to make sure that you have kind of that moisture content right for your final batter. It also caramelizes a little bit slower than regular sugar, so you don't get as much brownness on your banana bread, so it's not all the way brown, but a nice golden brown.
Exactly. Should we add some vanilla?
Yeah.
So this recipe calls for 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract and 2 tablespoons of ghee, or as I mentioned, you could use grass-fed butter or coconut oil. Next, we're gonna add 2 eggs. We're kind of living on the edge here.
Just cracking right
into the bowl, but you may want to crack them in a separate bowl first so that you don't get any shells in your dough.
If you don't have a stand mixer, you can always mash the bananas by hand and then use a whisk to mix it all together.
A little chunkiness isn't the worst thing in the world. So we love bananas because they're naturally sweet, of course, but we also love all the vitamins and minerals that they have. They're full of B6, potassium, and vitamin C.
Eggs are a great ingredient because they add moisture, leavening power, and emulsify the batter a little. So you get that nice dome on top of your banana bread and make sure that your batter is mixed thoroughly.
They're also high in protein and omega-3 fatty acids, which are anti-inflammatory. When I go to the grocery store, I look for organic, pasture-raised, certified humane eggs. It can be really confusing when shopping for eggs because there are a lot of different labels on there, but that's what I look for. All right, now let's mix this. It doesn't really matter how long you mix it for. You don't have to be that scientific about it, but just make sure everything's fully incorporated and mixed well. All right, this looks good. As you can see, it's pretty liquid. Our bananas were soft to begin with, so the KitchenAid mixed it up really well. If you're not using a KitchenAid or your bananas aren't that soft, you can always mash them with a fork to give it a little bit of an assist. Now, dry ingredients.
So we're gonna start with 1 cup of almond flour and a 1/4 cup of coconut flour. Grain-free flours are an awesome way to make your baked goods a lot healthier. We talked about it in our last episode for chocolate chip cookies, so you can check that out to learn more. But as I mentioned, coconut flour and almond flour, they mix together well to counterbalance the kind of drying effect that coconut flour has, and almond flour introduces that fattiness that you want for that nice soft crumb in your baked goods.
And not using white gluten or grain-containing flours will make this have a lower glycemic load, which means it will spike your blood sugar levels less and make it less likely that you'll be craving sweet foods all day long.
And now we're gonna go with 1 teaspoon of baking soda. I'm kind of a science nerd. I love baking soda because it's the main leavener of our recipe, assisted by the eggs. As it hits heat, it's gonna make these little carbon dioxide bubbles in our banana bread, which causes it to rise.
We're also gonna use 1/2 teaspoon of salt, which is gonna give us that sweet-salt combination, which we also talked about in our cookie recipe, so don't forget to check that out. And 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. Cinnamon is one of my favorite spices, and it's one of nature's kind of magical things because we just naturally want to put cinnamon on sweet foods, right? But cinnamon actually helps regulate our blood sugar levels, which again means that when we're eating sweet foods, it's not gonna spike our blood sugar levels as much and have us craving more. So be sure to put a lot of cinnamon on your sweet foods. Now we need a fork. Oh, good, you got one. Make sure you mix the dry ingredients really thoroughly. You don't want there to be any clumps because having clumps in your bread is not good. Like a dried clump of almond flour, that's not gonna taste good. So make sure you get all those little bits out. I think that looks pretty good, right? And let's dump this in with the banana mixture. Now we're just gonna turn this back on and mix until it's fully incorporated. It really doesn't need that long, but if you are using a mixer like this, I still recommend that you take a spatula and just give it a good whirl because sometimes there are some dry parts on the bottom. You just want to make sure that there isn't any of that good egg banana mixture stuck on the bottom. You want to get it fully incorporated with the flour so that our dough will bake evenly. Okay, that looks great. So next we're just gonna put the dough in the bread pan. The dough is thick, so you're gonna have to use your spatula to even it out. Depending on the depth of your pan, it should fill about 1/3 of the way up. So don't freak out if it doesn't go all the way to the top. It's really important that you smooth out the dough and make sure that it hits the edges of the pan. The dough is sticky, it is thick, that's all the moisture, it's all the banana, the gooiness, the yumminess. We're gonna want all of that, but you just gotta work it to the ends. And if you get any up on the sides, you can just use a paper towel to clean it off. That looks great. So last thing we're gonna do is decorate our banana bread before we throw it in the oven. So we are going to take a fresh banana, one that's not brown, so this is gonna be less sweet than our super brown ones that we used in the dough. And we're just gonna cut it in half. And then we're gonna, there we go. I'm gonna arrange them in a pretty little design. That's a big banana. You wanna press the banana down so that it really gets in the dough. I like this design, but you could, cut slices, you could do whatever you want. Feel free to get creative with it. So now we bake it. We have our oven preheated to 350 degrees, and we're gonna bake this for about 30 minutes.
Sometimes I eat banana bread for breakfast.
It's really good with a coffee, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or a dessert, or a snack.
All the time, basically.
So you'll know when your banana bread is done when you stick a cake tester into the thickest part of the bread and it comes out clean. You can also use a knife for this, but if you see any part of dough on the knife or the cake tester, you'll know that it needs a few more minutes. All right, so we're just gonna put the cake tester in the thickest part of the bread and it came up clean. So I think that we can eat it.
Yeah, let's do it. If I drop this whole thing right now.
See how it just comes right out of the pan? So easy. Should we cut into it?
Yeah.
All right. It's nice and warm. All right, let's try it. Honestly, I like this more than the original.
It's super soft and moist.
And it doesn't have that like processed oily flavor, but it's still really sweet and you can get such a great taste of banana in there.
Yeah, it really tastes like real bananas and not like weird fake bananas.
Totally, which are always better. Really good. It's everything I'd want in a banana bread. Spongy, slightly sweet, not overly sweet, lots of banana flavor. I think we nailed it. Thank you so much for watching. This is Alt-Baking Bootcamp. If you want to see us make other recipes, please comment with what you want to make below.
I'm Jenny Dorsey.
I'm Mia Rigden.
And we'll catch you next time.
Don't forget to subscribe.